Hello, today you will hear a story about a man's revenge. Everyone has their own entertainment in life. I love an active lifestyle. I always like getting new doses of adrenaline. I have tried a lot of things in my life, such as skydiving, skiing down steep slopes, bungee jumping from a bridge, and much more. My life was very bright, filled with a variety of impressions. I myself tried to connect my work with my lifestyle. Initially, I worked as a skydiving instructor and sold some sports equipment. After a while, I had my own small business. It all started with one small shop, which only had quality goods. I was well versed in this matter and understood very clearly that the life of my clients directly depends on the quality of these products. My business gradually developed, bringing in more and more money. But my life, filled with all the colors of the rainbow, was lacking the main thing: family warmth and comfort. I rarely appeared at home, always either at work or seeking new doses of adrenaline. But one day a very interesting thing happened. A couple of my friends wanted to get married, and to make it memorable, they decided to descend directly on parachutes to their exit ceremony. I offered to help them and instructed the guys in detail, as they were newbies in this business and were very worried. I arranged the perfect wedding gift for them. They will remember this flight for the rest of their lives. At this event, I met Meredith, a beautiful brunette who won my heart. Meredith and I have been married for over 15 years. There was never a dull moment in our lives. She, of course, did not share my extreme forms of entertainment, but she enjoyed traveling with me around the world. We often went to the mountains, and skiing down steep slopes was one of my favorite pastimes. Meredith, my love, are we going to the mountains next week? I asked my wife. Yes, Stephen, I love the fresh air, Meredith answered. That's great. I will prepare everything necessary for our trip. You know how long and how much I wanted to go to this place? Yes, dear, I hope you get exactly what you wanted there. I never rented equipment. I always brought my own and tested it. Despite my extreme entertainment, I paid a lot of attention to safety. This time, we ended up in a beautiful resort with very steep mountains. I attempted to conquer one of the steepest routes. My experience allowed me to successfully navigate the incredibly difficult route. The mountains seemed to challenge me, and I gladly accepted it. Meredith, you seem quiet today. Is something wrong? No, Stephen, everything is fine. I probably just didn't get enough sleep. Well, you should take a look at the beauty around you. There's no time for sleep. There's still so much to explore, I said with admiration. Stephen, I understand you very well, but today I'll probably stay at the hotel. I am feeling weak and tired. Maybe I got sick. Damn it, dear, but today I will conquer this difficult route. How am I going to do this without my favorite fan? I thought you would fly with me in a helicopter and cheer me up before this descent. Honey, I would love to, but you'll have to do it alone today. I believe in you. You will definitely succeed. Okay, darling, then wait for me at home with a victory. Definitely, dear. Be careful. Okay, bunny. It was a wonderful morning. The sun shone brightly, setting fire to the snowy peaks and blinding with their whiteness. We were approaching the slope that I had to conquer by helicopter. The weather is good today, said Bradley, the pilot of the helicopter that brought me here. Yes, Bradley, this is an incredible beauty. It will be a wonderful trip. Yes, Stephen, you will definitely not forget this descent, Bradley said with a smile. I'm sure you won't. So, Stephen, look, here's a search beacon. It will let us know where you are. If something goes wrong, you can press this button to send a distress signal, and we will find you. Understood, Bradley? Thank you very much. I hope it won't be necessary. Of course, it won't be necessary. Stephen, you're a professional. I admire you, but let it be with you. All right, Bradley, you can go back now. I'll start going down. All right, Stephen, good luck to you. Bradley flew away in the helicopter, leaving me alone on the snowy peak. It was an impressive sight. The slope was quite steep, but I was completely sure that I could handle it. I put on my skis, got ready, and started down the slope. It was just incredible. I skillfully went around rocks and cliffs, but then something went wrong. My ski binding broke and I fell, beginning to roll down the steep slope. I don't know how I survived or how long I rolled down this slope. I hit my head hard and lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was afraid to move. I understood that I should not have survived such a fall. I began to slowly pinch myself. It seemed like a couple of ribs were broken, but the rest of my bones were intact. When I passed out, my body went limp. Perhaps because of this, I did not break my spine or any other limbs. There was a wild noise in my head. I hit it hard, but there wasn't much blood, just a small cut on my head. However, there were all signs of a concussion. When I regained my senses, I realized that I was lucky to be alive. When I came to my senses, I tried to understand where I was. This place was far from civilization. There were no houses or people nearby, which filled me with despair. However, I was prepared for such situations and knew how to survive. I noticed fragments of my skis near me, and upon closer inspection, I saw that the ski binding had been deliberately damaged. It had been taken out of position in advance, but I couldn't understand why. But at that moment, it didn't matter. My main goal was to survive in this cold, deserted place. Luckily, I was wearing a good tracksuit and a warm jacket, but it wasn't enough. I needed to find a place to rest and warm up. Walking across the snow-covered plains was impossible, as I kept falling through the thick layer of snow due to my broken skis. So I improvised and built snowshoes to help me stay on the surface of the snow. I then set out to find a temporary shelter, and was fortunate enough to come across a small cave. I had matches with me, so I didn't have to struggle to make a fire by rubbing dry sticks. Finally, I was able to build a fire and warm myself up. However, I didn't have much water or supplies with me, as I didn't plan on staying here for long. I melted snow in a small iron mug to quench my thirst. My body was in pain, covered in abrasions and bruises. It was difficult to breathe due to my broken ribs, but I had an elastic bandage that I used to wrap my torso tightly. I also took out the beacon that Bradley had given me, but it wasn't working. Upon opening the panel, I realized that there was no power source. It dawned on me that this was all planned. They wanted to kill me and make it look like an accident. My only hope was to reach the designated evacuation spot and be rescued. According to the navigator, it was still a couple of dozen miles away. However, it would be a difficult journey in the cold without skis and in my current condition. So I decided to rest for the night and continue on the road the next day. I found a small hill without snow where dry grass was growing. I used the hay to build a place to sleep for the night. The next morning, I set off with the first rays of the sun. My body was in excruciating pain, and it was a struggle to walk, but I didn't give up on my goal. After walking for a long time, I finally reached the designated evacuation spot. However, to my dismay, there was nothing there. No one was waiting for me, and there was no base. It was a desolate, wild place. I was at a loss, my strength fading as I realized that my hope and purpose of reaching this spot were in vain. I was overcome with despair, not knowing what to do next. I collapsed helplessly into the snow, unable to sleep, but the drowsiness eventually took over. Drowsiness forced me to close my eyes with great force. And now, in a semi-conscious state, I heard the barking of dogs. I really didn't understand whether it seemed to me or whether it was not dogs but a pack of wolves. In any case, I no longer had the strength to resist, and I passed out. When I opened my eyes again, I was frightened and wanted to stand up abruptly, but I couldn't. My body was very weak. "Hush, man, hush." Some guy told me in front of me. "Where am I?" I asked him. "In my house." "You are very lucky. I don't go to this area often, but this time I was riding a sleigh with dogs in harness and noticed you. To be honest, I was surprised you were still alive. So consider yourself lucky. It's your second birthday. What is your name?" "My name is Stephen. Thank you very much for saving my life." "My name is David." "So how did you get into this situation?" David asked. I decided to take a ride, but everything clearly did not go according to plan. "Yes, I noticed. I saw your transmitter. Whoever gave it to you obviously didn't want you to survive." "I know, David, but I don't understand why it was necessary." "Well, I can only give you one piece of advice. Be careful with the people closest to you. Believe me, it could be one of them." "Thanks for the advice, David." I stayed with David for a few days and decided to return home. I returned secretly and was in no hurry to show up. I slowly approached my house. The window was open. I was passing by, already wanting to go home and make Meredith happy. She was the only person I did not doubt. But suddenly, I heard Meredith answering someone's phone. Hello? Yes, my dear. What? Yes, I'm collecting Steven's things. Yes, my beloved, of course I will come, Meredith answered. It just shocked me. Cold sweat broke out on my forehead. To whom did she speak so sweetly? I changed my mind about going home and decided to follow Meredith. I had a terrible sense of betrayal. I got back in my car and started to wait. Soon, Meredith left the house and got into her car. I followed her. We drove up to a private house. Meredith went inside. I crept up to the house and looked around. There was another entrance in the backyard. The door was not locked and I carefully entered the house. Suddenly, I heard voices in one of the rooms. My instinct told me to get my phone and film everything that was happening. I carefully crept up to the door and slipped the phone into the crack of the half-open door. Bradley, I still can't calm down. What if he survives? What if they suspect us of something? Will they find him? Meredith, don't worry. Everything was set up perfectly. I broke his ski binding. It would not have survived the descent from such a steep mountain. The beacon is also not working. He simply had no chance to get out of there alive. And this is confirmation that he still has not returned, and no one has found him. So much time to stay in this frost among the wild, it is simply unrealistic to survive, even for a trained person. You should have seen that slope. Yes, he twisted his neck there, and is already lying under a ton of snow. No one will definitely find him there. It was an accident. We planned this case for many months, so that no one would suspect. So do not worry. Soon you will officially be a widow and receive all of Steven's property. And his corpse will remain lying in the snow. It's good that it happened this way. I'm already waiting for when, finally, I will own all his estate. Perhaps only after that I can calm down. Meredith replied anxiously, I still know a good way to help you. Come to me, my dear. Bradley said excitedly as he pulled Meredith's underwear off. Then I couldn't take it anymore and burst into the room. So I won't survive, right? Yes, screw you bitches. I am more alive than all the living. I shouted, grabbed Bradley and threw him against the wall, from which he lost consciousness. Steven, are you alive? Steven, calm down, you got it all wrong. Meredith screamed. Shut your lying mouth? I yelled and gave Meredith a good punch, which knocked her out too. The plan of my revenge came to me unexpectedly and instantly. Wasting no time, I drove the car to the backyard and quickly loaded these creatures inside the car. Then I went to the airfield where I had a small private plane. When they woke up, we were already in the air. Well, the creatures are awake? I asked with a crazy look on my face. Steven, what are you thinking? Meredith screamed hysterically. Steven, calm down, please. Let's solve this issue in a calm atmosphere. Let's talk. Whimpered a frightened Bradley. No talking. I heard you talking, and I know what you lying bastards were up to. Enjoy your flight, I shouted, fixing the steering wheel and opening the aircraft hatch. I threw those bastards off the plane at high altitude. They screamed in despair, realizing that they would fall to their deaths. Those seconds as they fell seemed like a terrifying eternity of desperation. But I was not going to kill them, although I really wanted to. In their panic, they did not see that I had strapped them to their parachutes. These parachutes did not have rings that had to be pulled in order for the parachute to open. There were automatic parachute opening devices, and after a while, I saw the parachutes open. When those bastards landed, they were glad to be alive, of course, but the police were already waiting for them. I called a good friend of mine, who had connections with the police, so the guys quickly drove up to arrest these bastards. I handed over the filmed video of their frank conversation. So now these bastards sit behind bars for a very long time. I tried to get back to my normal life. New victories in my extreme hobbies helped me start a new life, but I was no longer in a hurry to let someone into my life. Dear listeners, your support is very important to us. If you like our story, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very motivating for us. We need your feedback to improve our content.